every damn day.
Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. Today, I'm on by myself, and I'm going to be talking about decentralized autonomous organizations. And before I do that, I want to emphasize I am talking from the perspective of the Fledge DAO, and the Every Damn Day platform. Part of why I'm doing this is to try to help increase digital literacy in Black, Brown, and poor people in our community. I do not want the next financial systems and governance systems to be built by strictly white, wealthy males. I want it to be built by all of us, for all of us. And I'm going to talk about decentralized autonomous organizations in that perspective. I want to make sure that everybody knows that I have an agenda. We all have an agenda of a vision, a future of what we want out of our different organizations. So I'm going to tell you what my agenda is. My agenda is to ensure that every single person in our community has their basic needs met. My agenda is to use innovation and entrepreneurialism to solve our problems. My agenda is to teach digital literacy. Blockchain smart contracts are not going to go away. They are part of our future. The big banks are working on it now. So many things are happening behind the scenes, and there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt being cast around as propaganda to keep us out of it. We need to get into this. So that is on my agenda, to start to teach people about this technology, and hopefully we see a great use case for it. So I do have an agenda to implement decentralized autonomous organizations as much as possible. But at the end of the day, when it comes to things like the People's Council makes decisions and speaks for the People's Council. I am simply just trying to put out some information to start a discussion to see if something like this could work for us. So I'm going to be sharing my screen once in a while. I would love any comments, questions, anything like that. Just put them in there. I will try to react to all of them as best that I can. So I'm going to start out with one of my favorite quotes from Einstein. And what he said is, we can't solve the problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. And the reason I have this quote up here is because I'm really looking hard at how our government and the organizations that are not part of our government, but still our government, like the Lansing Housing Commission or HRCS or whatever. I don't quite understand, how these non-elective appointed officials get all of this power. But what I do understand is that the processes that we use today are not equitable and they are not transparent. I will be doing an every damn day on objective evidence, and I will be providing objective evidence for that. Give you a quick rundown of what that means. When you put together objective evidence, like when you say, oh, you're lying, you should back that up with something. And that something should be objective evidence. And it has 4 parts: a requirement and the source of the requirement. For example, HUD might say that you have to award or give houses or sell houses with an equitable process. But, and so that's the requirement. The source of the requirement is the HUD's equitability plan. The findings that we made is that the LHC only distributed to 2 RFPs, or to only reviewed 2 proposals that came back in, and that's coming from them. But we also have a second part of that finding where organizations that did submit RFPs were never reviewed, never acknowledged, and never given any feedback. So to us, they are missing and have, basically violated or have a non-compliance, and we have objective evidence for it. I'm going to be talking a lot more about that in the next few days. So what I want to try to build is a process that is very, very transparent, where it is autonomous, so that the things that we value and that we say we're going to do automatically happen. So today's going to be, maybe 15, 20 minutes just talking about why it's important to have a decentralized autonomous organization. So one of the first things I better do though is I have to um, find my sheets. Let's look at what decentralized means. So again, centralized, if we start there, and I'm using blockchain, so I am using a ledger as an example, but it basically is there's a central power that makes decisions and can do things that the people not in the central power might not want or might not be aware of or whatever. So centralized power, centralized ledgers allow a lot of background shadiness to happen. Your bank can freeze your bank account, your DeFi. If it's not decentralized, they can stop withdrawals, all sorts of bad things. But in a decentralized approach, things are spread out everywhere. Things are in the control of multiple people. And in the case of a blockchain, you're able to go to something like Polygon Scan and see all of the transactions that happen. So if, for example, we did a vote on something, right now we're raising our hands, we're counting the hands, and then we're going to city council, let's say, and saying we voted 40-3 on this. And we really don't have the evidence of that. We could take photos of people raising their hands and all of that, but we don't have the evidence. If all of that was on the blockchain or all of it was in SurveyMonkey, then maybe we could show up with the evidence and it would start to show that, one, we can't make this up because it is on the blockchain. Two, we are doing this as a group of people that, again, we are headless. The 8 council members are not a part of an authority. They are speakers for the people. They are up there to read what we voted on, to deliver the message that the People's Council wants. So to continue with my example, this would allow us to basically record things in a very democratic way. It allows lots of people to participate. Now, we do have barriers. 2 of those barriers are not everybody wants to be in the crypto world, and I completely understand that. My fear is you're going to get dragged into it, and I'd prefer you to take a more proactive approach and start learning about it. And man, just getting into Web3, you can make so much money, and it is there's so many jobs out there. But I'm not going to lobby for crypto or anything like that. I am going to say that the technology that we use, which is the Polygon network, is a proof of stake network. Its energy use is very, very low compared to current banking systems, compared to even the social media that we use. So your carbon footprint's pretty big from Facebook and Twitter and Signal and all of those. This doesn't increase your carbon footprint by very much at all. And with what we're doing with renewable energy, we're trying to offset the entire blockchain for the entire world with just what we're doing here, the Polygon blockchain, with just what we're doing here with our efforts at the Fledge. So we do care about the environment. We are not capitalist pigs. We are not trying to sell you something. What we're trying to do is use blockchain technology to decentralize our organization even further and to have evidence that we have decentralized it. So decentralization is taking the power away from a single source, the mayor, for example, and distributing that power among the people so that the people have a voice that is guaranteed to be heard, that we can hold ourselves accountable to seeing if our voting is fair, if our proposals are written right, all of those different things. But that's all well and good, because I think we're kind of doing that already when we show up to city council together, standing shoulder to shoulder. We are showing the power of the people. But when we talk, it falls on deaf ears. And that's where autonomy comes in. And I've got to bounce around. So I'm going to take this off my screen for a second and really talk about what an autonomous organization looks like. Sorry, I just got to find my thing real quick. Sorry, I accidentally closed my document, but I should be back. All right. So autonomy. Autonomy is our ability to make decisions and have a say in the direction of our lives. It also, so that's one thing. We think that every single person should be able to have more autonomy, be more autonomous. And what it means in this case is not just that my voice was heard, but that my voice was listened to and acted upon. So in a decentralized autonomous organization, we would have something called a smart contract. And a smart contract is basically a set of rules that if we vote yes, these things are going to happen. If we vote no, these things are going to happen. If enough people don't vote, then this is what's going to happen. So we're able to define what is going to happen before we know what really does happen, and then it would be executed automatically. So, for example, if we all voted on something and the vote passed, one of the autonomous things might be that we send an email to every single person that we have an email address saying, this was the vote, it passed, 500 votes to 200 votes or whatever it is. So autonomously, that email gets sent. We can't stop it. It has to happen. And it puts the voice of the people out there. If we have a budget and we have money involved, it could automatically transfer that money to another account. So let's say that we voted that we give the let's say the lady who was coming with the invasive species and the native plants at City Council. Please watch that. I don't want to put somebody's name on here. If we voted that we wanted to help with that and we wanted to donate $500, we could automatically transfer that to an account that she could control to help us buy the native plants or help us pay people to plant the trees or whatever it was. And if that vote was yes, it would just automatically happen. And as you've seen in a centralized organization, they can take the ARPA funds, decide, well, half of them are going to go to this without any input from the people. About another 40% are going to go to this without any input from the people. And then we're going to give you the 1.9 million scraps, but we gave it to you, but now we're going to take it back. All of that is shady. It's not transparent. It's not equitable. They should have done the entire $50 million in a more public forum way. I'm not sure that we need 1.5 million more dollars for the police. I am sure that the fighters need a new headquarters. I think they get sick from the building. I think that is a great thing that we should be doing. I see a lot of money for Parks and Recs. I like that a lot, but I'm not sure that Parks and Recs, that much money versus could we just feed our citizens? I don't know. I have to look into that more. But that's part because there hasn't been any discussion. We haven't had public forums. It hasn't been transparent. And even if they say they're going to do something, they don't have to do it. They can vote how they want. We need a direct democracy. And that's what a decentralized autonomous organization can do for us. So and then the last thing is just, an organization. And that's a group of people getting together, standing shoulder to shoulder in our case, and showing up at City Council, being able to, basically we have to get in their face to prove that there's a lot of us. a decentralized autonomous organization would be on the blockchain. We would see that the people are voting. We would see how many votes were cast. We would be able to hold up a piece of paper, or if we had a council person that would work with us on this, their ward could vote and give them that direct democracy vote. This is how our ward is voting. They are asking you to vote no on this or vote yes on this. And it would be really nice if they autonomously had to do that. So, Ken, can you help? Ken, please help me. Ken, please help me ward off. So, sorry, somebody's walked in, but I can't speak with them quite yet. They would have to follow that vote. I could see a vision where we don't actually have people up there that need to speak the vote or speak the voice of the people. We have a box right there that says, all right, here's the vote. All the people spoke. This is a no vote from Ward 2. We can automate this. We can be autonomous with this. And I think as we build our organization, we do not want to have the same type of thinking as they have. There is no power in just an individual leader with the People's Council. The People's Council comes from every single individual being there, being welcomed there, being included, which means their voice is heard, and feeling safe to be able to say whatever it is that they need to say, what their voice is, what their experience is, what their fears are, how they have been quieted in the past, and how they don't want to be quieted in the future. So to me, I would like to see us figure out a way to use the voting mechanism that was on the blockchain, give options for people who don't want to participate in that might be able to use SurveyMonkey and also do paper stuff, because we still have people without technology, and we want to be as accessible as possible. So I would like to see our voting being done partly, at least, on the blockchain, using more technology. We are savvy. We need to take advantage of the technology. We have more technology than the people we are trying to get to listen to us. And we're, as a collective, we've got a big brain. That's all I'm going to say. So, and these votes, when we do them, we can basically read them off from the ledger and say, this is how the People Council voted, and we would have tons of data to back it up. I also would like to see somebody do an RFP process, and I think if I get a grant that I'm working on that allows me to distribute money out to some entrepreneurs, I'm going to put that into a DAO where we vote on it and autonomously respond to the RFPs, and respond to the proposals that we receive, and also put those proposals on something that's called the interplanetary filing system, so that those will always be out in a decentralized place. So if you submit a proposal to us and we try to deny that you submitted it to us, you'll be able to pull it up right off from the blockchain and show that you did submit that, and we wouldn't be able to backpedal and say, well, we didn't get it, or it must have gone to spam, or all the different stuff. It would be proof that this happened with all of the world to see. So we want to be very transparent. So we've got to fix that problem. I think this is a good solution. I will do whatever the People's Council says. As it relates to this, though, I am merely two shoulders in the People's Council, with the shoulder here standing next to me and the shoulder there standing next to me. And there's a lot of us. And so having transparency built in right from the beginning, having something that can't be forged or tampered with built in right from the beginning, and having us keep our word through autonomy would be just lovely, because then all the bias starts to go out. All the things that make us want to say, yeah, that's what we want, but not for those people or not for that people. Let's make what we want the actions that we do. I always love this Stephen Covey quote that you cannot talk your way out of situations you behave yourself into. So let's talk our walk. And, the other thing is that to be able to audit what the city has done, we have to FOIA this and FOIA that. And if we don't get it, exactly right, then they can deny the FOIA or give us just, stupid little records that we don't really need. It is not the intent of what FOIA was supposed to be. And it's sort of disgusting. The other thing is accessibility at city council. I don't understand why the ADA is not all over them to have these more remote and have them more accessible. There are people who cannot leave their house for physical constraints. There are single mothers who have a voice that cannot be heard because they don't have child care, or they don't have transportation, or they don't even have the time and money to travel to city council, but they would like to come in at the 3-minute mark and say something in their voice. Things like a decentralized autonomous organization can help us spread the equity, get more voices, and get more people not just involved in what we're doing, but also in the future of the economy. We see an economy that is a lot more democratic than what we have today. So I would love questions. I would love comments. Again, I am one vote in a vote that looks like it's going to be in the several hundred in the next week or so. So not trying to lobby you, not trying to convince. I would love to have a healthy discussion on this if anybody is interested. So check out what a DAO is. Think about, we don't have to use blockchain and crypto to get some of the elements that we have. So we can, still be somewhat decentralized. We can still be somewhat autonomous, and we can do this with or without crypto. But I would like us to be a decentralized, autonomous organization in some way, the best way that we can, so that we can not only say that we want equity and that we want to hear all of the voices and present all of the voices, but that we actually do it without any thought. It just happens. I love you all very much. I want a prosperous city. To get to a prosperous city, we must first make sure that everybody is safe, secure, they have their food, and they have their shelter. And if you ain't working on that, then you ain't working on the right things. Love y'all. Talk to you later. Have a great day. We're out. Talk to you tomorrow.